Where does your mind go when you hear the 49ers and expectations?
Super Bowl and NFC Championship at minimum. And this is a compliment. And I say this to you in the masses that, I'm not a fat rat. I'm saying it like they are so stacked and they've been so close. They've been on that threshold. I'm going back to 2019, if you allow me, Evan, to where they had that 10-point lead. So they have been knocking at the door. They've had leads in the NFC Championship up until last year, but they still were back in that game. So how can any person walk in this free earth when you talk about Niner football and expectations not say the Super Bowl? So for me, it's the Super Bowl, and we don't know what tomorrow brings, and we know it's not promised, right? That's how I live my life. And Evan, damn it, the Niners they're loaded, they're ready to go. I want to see them get there this year.
I do too. And look, February 2024 is hopefully going to be a place that the 49ers are still playing football, which it's going to be hard. And I think it's someplace that's achievable. And it is because of what has kind of been leaking out over the last 24 hours. And right when we started our show was about the time that Albert Breer's story in the Monday Morning Quarterback came out about how much the 49ers believe in Brock Purdy, even more than people realize, essentially, that this is a guy that Kyle Shanahan identified after 3 regular season games as having it. Whatever it is, he's got it. It took 3 games for Shanahan to know. And so I just want to throw that out. Like, are you convinced? 888-957-9570. Are you convinced about Brock Purdy? Are you as convinced as the 49ers appear to be for their second-year quarterback who's coming off of elbow surgery that did not lose a regular or postseason game last year that he started and finished? Is this dude real and real enough to get to where you're talking about, Guru, which is the big game?
Man, I'll tell you what. Now, I told Shasky and Bonte, and I'm going to tell you in the masses again. You just never can measure somebody's heart. And do they have it? Joe Montana had it. He didn't have the Dan Marino or John Elway gun, but he had, the wherewithal upstairs, the ability to look off the safety. He was a maestro at his job. He knew what was going on, chess, not checkers. So to answer your question, I look at Brock Purdy and sometimes I'm like, Evan, is he too small? That Reddick hit on his elbow, it was fluke in the sense that he didn't see it coming, and your guy, the backup tight end, missed the block. But at the end of the day, I'm like, how sustainable is this? But now I'm hearing Fred Warner and Trent Williams, who's been around the block a few times, Evan, say last year at practice that they saw something in this dude like Rudy. And lo and behold, he gets his chance because 2 guys get hurt before him, and all he does is do what you just mentioned, undefeated, and then wins 2 playoff games against a pretty damn good Seattle team, a damn good stout Dallas Cowboy defense. So why am I to expect him to return the glass slippers when he's proven to me, outside of the math of, he didn't play 17 guys, other than that, this kid looks like he knows what he's doing. So why should it stop?
Well, the reason why it could stop is, number 1, because of the elbow. But number 2, because, and this is where I think we're going to find out a lot about Brock Purdy this season, was it a flash in the pan? Like, was it something that was unsustainable moving forward, and did he catch the league by storm? I lean no. I lean Brock Purdy is here to stay. Now, I do not believe that he's going to be an 115 quarterback rating for 17 games. You're going to have your ups and your downs, and especially with a full offseason for defenses to prepare specifically to stop you and the 49ers, I think there's going to be some regression. And this was what we were talking with Bonte Hill about this right before the chat. Like, I don't think it's out of the question for Brock Purdy to improve this year. Now, that may not manifest itself statistically, but we saw it up here. We saw it in between the ears with Brock Purdy. We saw the play physically play out on the field, was moving the ball down the field, was scoring points, had a lot of help from the running game, but everything was working under Brock Purdy. And I don't know why that can't continue. I don't know why he can't get better from that.
No doubt. And I talk about the Jedi, and I give Kyle his flowers, and I also criticize him when need be. But, Evan, I look at the Jimmy Garoppolo era, and I go back, and I know I can look you in the face and tell you Jimmy was not the best quarterback. But I cannot rob Jimmy from his win-loss record and the fact that he got this team to multiple NFC championship games, a Super Bowl. Kyle had a lot to do with that. So I don't know what Jimmy's going to be without Kyle in Vegas. I'm kind of biting my nails like Raider fans. But the bottom line is the guy that's the Yoda to Luke Skywalker is Kyle to Brock Purdy, and he's already proven that he can handle it. And when you talk about, I don't know how heavy or what weight you put into 2 playoff games, but Evan, I thought, okay, he could get exposed. Seattle's got a week. Dallas, they got a week, to kind of expose this young man. And it didn't happen. So I know it's a whole off season, and you just mentioned the first thing that's on my mind is the physical aspect of this. How is he going to bounce back from that elbow surgery? But other than that, this dude is in what I call a heaven for a quarterback, and you got a genius calling the plays. That we know. Evan, I just don't see him coming back down to earth.
No, look, the confidence that we're talking about is because there's reports that Brock Purdy would have been the guy to start the Super Bowl if all things had been equal. If health had been assumed between both him and Jimmy Garoppolo, who's getting back from foot surgery, Brock Purdy would have been the guy. Like, that's what he earned last year with his play. And it does appear that even though Sam Darnold was brought in, and a lot of people are applying that as a kind of a negative on Trey Lance, the introduction of Brennan Allen is, a damnation of Trey Lance. That's not the way that I see it. And the things that I'm reading about the confidence in Brock Purdy, but specifically how Kyle Shanahan is looking at the former Mr. Irrelevant, now his QB1, is Kyle Shanahan built this quarterback room this offseason around Brock Purdy. That, to me, is imminently clear. And everything was basically just a contingency for the possibility of him not being there. But we found out yesterday, Brock Purdy is cleared officially to throw 3 days in a row. He's almost, good to go, damn near 100% from what it's sounding like. In practice, he's looked rusty. He's had 2 days on, 2 days off.
You expect that, though, right? Russ, he had surgery.
Well, and this is where a lot of people, I think, were coming down our road yesterday for the Trey Lance performance of it was also his first time on the field in 330 days, and he looked rusty too. So I do want to apply the same kind of, evaluation to both. Like, I want to give both a fair shake, but to me, Trey Lance we talked about him a lot yesterday. We got into some Darnold yesterday. Today, to me, is about Brock Purdy and what he has done to prove that he deserves to be not only the quarterback for this season, but something Steiny was throwing out last week, which is kind of in my mind now, is is this guy your franchise quarterback? Do you look at him yet like he is the franchise quarterback?
What if I told you I'm between second and third base? I'll go Major League Baseball for the Giants. So I'm between second and third, and I'm ready to come home with maybe 3 to 4 more regular season games, Evan, because I do believe these defensive coordinators around the league can make an adjustment to the adjustment. So now they got a lot of game tape on Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy's in such a good situation. It's not just him, Evan. You got a running back. You got a tight end. You got dual threat wide receivers. So he's in such a good spot that it's going to be so hard for a defense on any given Sunday, shout out Al Pacino, to kind of stop and make him look bad. Am I telling you he's perfect? Is he a finished product? No. But to your point, a lot of people are not talking about him actually getting better because he'll be more seasoned. So this thing could go the other way. But the fact that you told me, I believe it was 6 touchdowns for Kittle after your boy took over the reins.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a Niner fan, I got to be excited. And I'll give you this one caveat, Evan. Brock Purdy, to me, should not see one snap of this preseason. There's nothing to prove, Brock, to the fans and the masses as far as do you belong, because you had that surgery and everything is so delicate. I don't want to see him until week 1 in Ben's house.
See, that's interesting to me because as much as I don't think that Brock Purdy needs to be put in harm's way, and obviously if he does get hurt, I would love to see it, or not love to see it, but I would rather have it be in the regular season than in preseason. We also just discussed the concept of rust and getting back to where he was last year. You don't think the preseason would benefit him in any way from that perspective? Like, it's not just about protecting the arm, but it is about trying to look the same as you were last year, right?
Now, okay, I'm not Jimmy Johnson, the great football coach from the U, but Evan, when you talk about arm strength and you talk about reps, couldn't you just go to any local high school or any field in Santa Clara and build that strength or make those throws in regard to the distance or whatnot? My thing is, if you run them out there, it's live, and guys are going to try to take your head off. So to me, why would I risk Brock Purdy and what he's done to get back and be ready for actual, a game that means something? Why would I risk him getting hit at all when there's so much riding? I mean, we're talking about a Niner team that is one of 4 teams or 3 teams that can win it all. Again, the way I live my life, nobody cares, Evan. There's not enough to gain. There's too much to lose. Like our season, if it were Darnold or Trey, if something were to happen to young Brock Purdy. And Evan, I'm gonna go the N-word. I'm gonna go the N-word. Negligent. That's what it would be if not that one. That's what it would be if he got hurt in the preseason, right? Wouldn't the Niner brass, not just Kyle, get crucified? Why did you put him out there? Or would people have enough discipline to say, no, Guru, he needed to go out there and get the rust off?
I think it is about adjusting to that game speed because, so for me, the way that I look at this season is you need the 1 seed. And not that last year disproved that they could win on the road in Philadelphia because, of course, we don't know. But I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles are just as, if not slightly better overall than the San Francisco 49ers.
And they lost some pieces, too, on their defense. But go ahead.
They did.
Okay.
They also replaced it with a big boy up front. But I'm mainly talking about, I give them the edge because I've seen it from Jalen Hurts a little more than I've seen from Brock Purdy. And Jalen Hurts was incredible last year. Lost 1 game in the regular season. So I give them the edge. To me, that means that home field advantage is very important, if not necessary, for the 49ers to get to the Super Bowl.
You're right.
So that means I'm looking at this season the same way that Ohio State's looking at their regular season. College football starts in 11 days.
Thank you, John.
The way that Alabama's looking at their season, which is, it doesn't matter if preseason game 1, we're playing the number 2 overall team. We got to win every single game because we got to keep pace, not with the division. The NFC West, in my mind, is all locked up. That's for the 49ers to lick their chops and just, it is theirs. But what they need to do, they're playing against the Eagles every single week. They're trying to keep pace with them every single week because, in my mind, the 49ers are both capable and they need the 1 seed.